if you're not doing anything about climate change, then like, what are you doing, right?
Yeah, I think for me, it's definitely the key area to invest. And also what attracted me was the creativity I was seeing in the terms of solutions that people were coming up with. A lot of them based on science, borrowing different technology from either research or large companies that had invented something, never used it, but could be applied to something else. So we see a lot of these, I would say, creative solutions out there in climate tech that I was not seeing in software anymore. I mean, the software playbook is quite old by now. The new SaaS business is not necessarily more exciting than the last one versus climate tech, which is very new as a field, I would say, and has attracted all this new generation of entrepreneurs who are, first of all, super motivated by the mission and mainly by the mission more than being a millionaire or billionaire.
Welcome to the EU Startups Podcast. Sit back and enjoy the show hosted by Marcin Lewandowski.
This episode of EU Startups Podcast is brought to you by Vanta. Are you building a business? Achieving compliance with frameworks like ISO 27001 and SOC 2 can help you win bigger deals, enter new markets, and deepen trust with customers. But this can also cost you real time and money. Vanta automates up to 90% of the work for the most in-demand frameworks, helping businesses get compliant quickly. And with over 300 integrations, you can easily monitor and secure the tools your businesses rely on. Join over 7,000 fast-growing companies that use Vanta to manage risk and prove security in real time. To learn more about how Vanta works and to get 20% off, visit vanta.com/EU Startups. That's vanta.com/EU Startups. Now, kick back and enjoy the show.
Hey everyone, this is Marcin Lewandowski and you're listening to the EU Startups Podcast. My guest today is Renaud Visage, the co-founder and ex-CTO of Eventbrite, one of Europe's biggest tech successes and the event platform we've all used. Eventbrite IPO'd in 2018 and Renaud left the company in 2021. Currently, Renaud is investing in climate tech startups and building a climate tech growth fund. Renaud is also an angel investor and he made over 75 angel investments to date. It's such a pleasure to have you on the show. Welcome, Renaud.
Thank you for having me.
So Renaud, how are you today?
I'm very good, thank you. You?
I'm good as well. Looking back at your time as the co-founder and CTO of Eventbrite, what were the most memorable milestones in scaling the platform? And can you share a particularly challenging moment that stands out? How did you navigate through it?
So we've had many challenging moments, as you can imagine, over the
100%.
17 years we've been in existence. We launched the company in the US, actually, in San Francisco in 2006. Maybe our first big bump in the road was the financial crisis of 2008, 2009. Mm-hmm. We were supposed to raise our A round at the beginning of 2008. And then that's when all the funds decided they didn't want to invest anymore. There's a famous Sequoia rest in peace presentation that we always refer to. So we talked to a lot of venture investors at the time, more than 100. They all turned us down. So we had to find friends and family who could put $1 million in the company to help us survive. And we did well during that financial crisis, actually, because the business kept on growing. A lot of people were laid off, so they had more time to go to events, go to networking events in particular. So business-wise, we were doing very well. And we survived by just having the right friends who helped us bootstrap the company for one more year. And in the end, ended up raising from Sequoia, which is ironic, I guess, at the end of 2009.
Yes, yeah.
We almost died during that period, though, so it made us realize how important managing your cash is for growing startups. There's some very happy moments also. We had our first major event, I would say, was a concert in Central Park for the Robin Hood Foundation with Black Eyed Peas as the headliner. That was in 2010. We had to make a lot of changes with 50,000 people in an outdoor venue. We had all the systems to get people in. And then the event got canceled because of thunderstorms. Had to be postponed by a week when people were lining up. So it was a pretty stressful moment, I would say, for the entire company, because our reputation, and the beginning of our reputation at least, was being formed by all these people attending this massive concert. But very glad that the technology worked and allowed us to power such a large event. That was not necessarily what we had in mind when we launched the business. So, exciting growth opportunities for us after that. And then maybe the IPO. I mean, I know it's a cliche, but being there on the New York Stock Exchange with your company on a giant banner on Wall Street when you come in, it's like, we've accomplished something at least.
We've made it.
And then we rang the bell, and that day was awesome. Great bonding moment for everyone, and a lot of memories at the same time of what it took to get there. So definitely an exciting time for the business. And then the next day we went back to work to keep building the company. So there's COVID after that, but that was a separate event that definitely impacted us a lot on the event side. We lost most of our revenue in 1 month and had to rebuild everything.
It's
pretty
crazy.
much after that.
Like, what a story! What a story is this, Renaud?
So it's never a long, smooth journey in startup land.
It's always ups and downs, like kind of roller coaster. 100%.
Exactly.
I love it. So after the Eventbrite journey, you transitioned to angel investing. What sparked your shift to climate tech, and what's the big vision for your climate tech growth fund?
So I actually started investing when I was still at Eventbrite in 2014. We did a first secondary in 2013, and immediately after I started getting involved in the European ecosystem. So I got access to very interesting companies, started backing mostly software startups at that time. And then I've got the feeling that I like the venture investing world. So I became a venture partner with 2 funds, learned the ropes of how a fund works and how to pick companies. Because when you're angel investing, you have freedom of decision, and it's a quick and dirty process, I would say, for most of these decisions. But being in a fund, you have to be much more rigorous about how you look at different businesses and pick the right ones, because your fund performance depends on it. Exactly. So these formative years allowed me to maybe confirm that I was really into venture investing. And about 4 years ago, I started thinking about which area was the most attractive today. What are the biggest challenges we face as a species? Climate change, of course, came as the top topic, I would say, for the next 20, 30 years. But if we have to find solutions, otherwise a lot of areas in the world will not be very hospitable, I would say, for humankind. I was also
not doing anything about climate change. Like, what are you doing, right?
I think for me, it's definitely the key area to invest. And also what attracted me was the creativity I was seeing in the terms of solutions that people were coming up with. A lot of them based on science, borrowing different technology from either research or large companies that had invented something, never used it, but could be applied to something else. So we see a lot of these, I would say, creative solutions out there in climate tech that I was not seeing in software anymore. I mean, the software playbook is quite old by now. The new SaaS business is not necessarily more exciting than the last one, versus climate tech, which is very new as a field, I would say, and has attracted all this new generation of entrepreneurs who are, first of all, super motivated by the mission, and mainly by the mission more than being a millionaire or billionaire, but also are very exciting to be around because they see the opportunity as much as we do.
So, technology plays a crucial role in battling the climate change. Where do you see the most promising developments, like any specific areas in climate tech that excite you the most?
I think more than specific areas, and I'm attracted to the space because of how entrepreneurs are finding these incredibly creative solutions to a variety of problems that are all necessary to fight climate change properly. So maybe I'll cite a few of my past investments, but it could be using waste from breweries, for example, to create animal-free, plastic-free leather for the fashion industry. Arda Biomaterial is one company we invested in that does that. Or taking AR technologies and applying it to waste treatment plants to better sort through rubbish and do it like repair it. I just saw a company in Israel that wants to bury wood chips or wood production facility waste into the Black Sea, because that's where it can stop from being decomposed and releasing the CO2 in the atmosphere. So you see, and that's ex-Googlers doing that. So it's not people that are from the industry, but they just look at the problem, all the potential solutions, and there are a lot of sites out there that will list all the things that are already possible. You just need to build businesses against those. And the best entrepreneurs today, I think, are gravitating towards either climate tech or AI. That's the two biggest areas where we see a lot of innovation and where we don't know how it's going to play out, versus maybe traditional software where, as I said, the playbook's been written already.
All right. 100%. So as I've mentioned already, like you've made over 75 angel investments. Renaud, imagine you're giving a lecture at Angel Investor School. What would be your top 3 lessons learned from your investments, and how have they shaped your perspective on investing?
Yeah, so I think over time I've reduced my investment radar to 2 major questions. It's why them, why now? Because I think the 2 questions answer a lot of the things you need to look at when you're looking at an angel investment. So with that lens, I think maybe my first lesson is to work on your storyline. You have maybe 10 minutes to get the attention of an investor when you start pitching. They will doze off after, they'll give you an hour, but in the first 10 minutes, they probably decided if they want to invest or not. Yeah. So you need to be really crisp, clear, concise as a storyteller. You need to do it quickly and effectively, but also in fairly simple terms. And that's sometimes I see too many decks that are very technical, but you forget what the problem is or what the solution does. And that's not going to fly for many investors. So storytelling is really something I look at that when I invest as angel. How capable are they? How convinced they are by their story also. And because they will need that forever. Like you always storytell. We're a public company now with Eventbrite, but we're still storytelling every quarter when we pick up the phone and talk to the analysts. So it never stops, and it needs to be a strong quality from the get-go. Second one is obvious today, but cash is king. When you run out, you're dead. So I've seen too many examples of very viable businesses and great companies with great founders, forgetting that the next round is not assured. Yeah. You need to prove, you need to deliver on the numbers, you need to convince new investors, and that's not easy. So I would say in today's day and age, you need at least 9 to 12 months of cash at all times. And if you don't have that, you need to seriously think about, do you need all the people that are working for you? Because the next round might never come, or reach profitability, which is definitely a new model for a lot of startups. And a lot of investors are pushing for that today, which makes a lot of sense. And maybe the final one is, don't be greedy. I've seen too many founders raising too much too early, putting an immense pressure on them for the next round, because it feels good to say you've raised, 20 million seed round. But that means the next round at the A needs to be much bigger than that. So you need to have much bigger numbers to validate that. And I'd rather invest in very scrappy teams who accomplish more with less, and that only raise when they need it, that know when to raise. It's not when you need it, because that's usually too late, but it's when you have the right story to tell to the investors that the fundraising will go smoothly and quickly, and that these are the best entrepreneurs.
Cool. Renaud, so, you kind of answered the next question that I had for you. Because I want to ask you, like as an angel investor, what is kind of your superpower when choosing startups, but also maybe, or what superpowers are you looking for in founders? Like, are there any red flags or green lights that stand out to you when making investment decision?
Yeah, there's a few. I think my superpower has always been the ability to find the gaps. So whether it's in storytelling and the business model and their revenue that they're showing or projections or whatever, you can somehow manage to find what's missing or what could be improved. Definitely a strong skill, I think, as you're building your team and delegating a lot of the responsibilities to your C-levels. You still have to be able to identify what they're not telling you or push on the things you think are very important for their strategy, but they're not looking at. So I would definitely look at that. Storytelling abilities, we talked about it. One red flag is not listening. You have conversations with very savvy investors when you're fundraising. Whether you care about what we tell you or not, being defensive and saying, oh, no, we thought about that, we're not going to do that. It's good to have strong conviction, but take these opportunities, listen. Maybe in 2 weeks, you'll find that, yes, it was very relevant what they asked, and that what's prevented you from raising, for example. So not listening is always one of these red flags, and angel investing in particular is very much about intuition. So there are a few things you look at. Team dynamics is definitely one, as we're a core founder team at the beginning, and you need to have the right complementarity between the team, how they talk to each other, are they all speaking or not. This is also a sign of how they're going to be able to function as a group, as leaders, because they become leaders as a result of being founders.
Awesome. Renaud, the lessons that you've gained scaling Eventbrite are probably priceless. What would be one thing that you wish you knew at the beginning of the journey?
One thing I wish I knew. Maybe that any entrepreneurial journey is a learning journey. You're gonna have to reinvent yourself many times along the way. The person you start who launched the business is not going to be the one who takes the company public. So, embracing this transformation of the self along the way, figuring out where you fit inside the new organization, whether you're capable of or even enjoying being in a large company. That's not the case for many founders. So that's one thing maybe I didn't realize at the beginning. I thought I would just be the same person, but you can't really do that. You have to adapt. You have to transform yourself into first an IC all the way to a leader for large groups, and that's not easily done. So definitely something to watch out for as you embark on this potentially very long journey towards a successful exit.
Love it. So Renaud, being based in Paris, you're at the heart of the European startup ecosystem. How has the vibrant French startup environment evolved over the years, and how do you see it compared to other hubs in Europe?
So I started getting involved in the European tech ecosystem when we launched Eventbrite across Western Europe in 2011. So I've been there for a while now and seen the evolution of the ecosystem. I'd say when I got there in 2011 here in Paris, it was tiny. There were 2 different sites which had accelerators. There were a few governmental programs, but very lightweight. So the growth from then to now has been incredible. And we have 25 unicorns. The government has spent a lot of money building up the ecosystem and passing laws that have changed the game. For example, the tech visa. I'm lucky to be married to the ex-director of the French Tech Mission, who did a lot of these programs for President Macron. So I've seen from the inside what it what all the efforts that the government did in making Paris the second hub in Europe today, behind London. Like, we came back from very far. And I think we have all the pieces of the ecosystem now in place. We have a lot of strong VC funds. We have exited employees from great startups that are either investing or launching new companies, or all the same components that Silicon Valley had for many years. We're starting to see here with great results. I mean, yes, 2022 and 2023 were complicated years for a lot of startups, especially in terms of fundraising and growing. But we still, I think, have a right dynamic. AI, we're a big hub for AI today with Mistral and other recently launched startups that are very ambitious and have global ambitions. I think that maybe is the biggest difference from way back when to now, is the level of ambition of the entrepreneurs. And a lot of them will launch in the US also directly.
And you have one of the big, like, you have the biggest campus, like startup campus in Europe, right? Station F.
Yeah, I mean, it depends how you measure, but yes, it's very vibrant and the hub for the tech ecosystem, because everybody's there, like all the different players, the corporates are there, the funds are there, the startups are there in numbers. So it's a place also where we go to events, and it's very social. Yeah. So that helps with exchanges, connections, but we see that throughout Paris. It's not limited now to Station F. There's a lot of co-working that have grown since COVID, for example. I would say most of the startups are based in the co-working space today. Yeah. And that's very exciting.
So, I don't know, if you were hosting a dinner in Paris with 3 tech legends, past or present, to discuss the future of tech and climate, who would be on your guest list, and what would be the main course of conversation?
It's a tough one. I think the first one would be Leonardo da Vinci, because he did so many things in so many different fields. I just want to understand how he conceptualized all that in his mind, and was so ahead of his time on many different fronts. On the more practical side, I think Steve Jobs would have been a great guest as well. How did he think of the operational excellence that Apple has today? It's a very large company that inherited a lot of these ways of doing that I think a lot of founders could benefit from. So we'll definitely talk about how to scale organizations, how to have that innovation spirit that Apple has been able to keep all these years, and keeping with a very large business at the same time. And then I would talk climate with Bill Gates, because I think he's done a lot of things in his life as well. I mean, it's pretty obvious. With his foundation, he's done a lot of great things on health, but on his personal investment with Breakthrough and other initiatives, he's also been one of the precursors. So where does he see the industry going? What are the true solutions that could be game-changing for humanity? I think he probably has a very strong knowledge and thinking around all the things that he's gotten involved through the years. So 3 different conversations.
Yeah, right? Like so many. Like,
I'm sure they would love to talk to each other as well. So.
Right. Love it. I love your picks, Renaud. So imagine your climate tech moonshot. Like, what's the bold goal you love to achieve in the next decade, or for sustainability through technology? And how do you see it reshaping our relationship with the environment?
I mean, there's definitely an urgency. So any solution that would delay the urgency would probably be beneficial for us. So I'm thinking we need a solar shade that reduces the sun's emission by, I don't know, a very tiny amount, so that we can buy ourselves a bit more time. I definitely think the transition away from using our natural resources for exploiting our natural resources, I would say, to fuel our growth, we need to do something about. So I wouldn't stop investing in sustainable alternatives, because that is the way to the future. Earth is depleting, our nature is getting poorer and poorer every year. I read that most of the coral reefs are going to disappear if the sea temperatures continue rising. So these are very urgent threats. I don't know that there is a moonshot that solves it all. But if we could buy ourselves a little time with solutions that are reversible and not damaging, then I think we would be maybe bolder in the terms of what solutions we can come up with. But I have faith in humanity. I mean, we've always survived and thrived even through adversity, and COVID was the latest example. We rallied, found vaccines, deployed them worldwide in a very efficient manner, I would say. So I have belief that, and that's why I'm investing in the space, because I think we can find solutions. We just have to have the right levers along the way to make sure that these solutions see the light of day, get inserted into our economy, and find the true path to sustainability, which is the only way we stay relevant 1,000 years from now.
100%. I love this positive, optimistic message that you're sending towards the end of our time here. And Renaud, so to end it off, do you have any exciting initiatives or projects going on that you would like to share with us or with the audience?
I mean, launching a fund is a big project already. So I'm very focused on that at the moment. We're thinking of also tying our interest in the fund to a more less profitable initiatives around climate refugees, for example, or climate adaptation. So it's still within our realm of how do we account for climate changes over the next few years, but how do we build a truly virtuous cycle as investors and put back the money to maybe fund projects that are not venture backable or that have a hard time raising from other sources.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Renaud. I've enjoyed this interview a lot. I feel like I could talk to you for like a few more hours. Lovely
Happy to do so.
Thanks so much for taking the time. And I hope to talk to you soon.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.